Welcome back to the Sunday Brunch with Ben and Ned and our lovely guest, Lovey Jane.
Thank you.
We want to talk to you about unschooling. You are a mom of 2 boys, is that right?
I am.
So tell us about your experience educating them at home or letting them educate themselves.
All right.
The case is.
And what's the difference between unschooling and homeschooling?
Okay. We'll start with that. First, I have 2 sons. They're 22 and 25 now. So this started quite a while. 22 and 25.
45.
Okay. After that.
Just ignore them. That's okay.
When Zach went to school, our oldest son went to school. He went to kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. Before we even heard anything about homeschooling or even looked into that at all. And it was a principal of his that brought it up because he was so gifted and artistic to the labels that they gave him that
He's hard to deal with.
He was hard to deal with.
He's artistic.
He spent far too much time filling out his work too quickly
out of control.
and then drawing the Kiss rock band on the back of pages of his things. He was a little obsessed with Kiss there in 1st grade.
Nice.
And then in 2nd grade, he was drawing too much and they wouldn't give him extra work and stuff and I kept saying give him extra work. Anyway, so we heard about homeschooling. Well, I thought only like ultra-conservative religious families did that. I didn't even know that there were people of all walks of life doing this.
Normal people?
Normal people. Homeschooling, not sending their kids to school.
Be careful with that word normal.
Yes.
Right.
True. Which is kind of the point.
So quickly, I found LEARN, which is Let Education Always Remain Natural. It's a homeschooling and unschooling support group in Kansas City that was mostly made of artists and musicians, but also of all different walks of life.
So that's local?
It's local. It's in Kansas City.
LEARN.
And they're super great people and really nice amount of families. And the difference within that group, I quickly found between homeschooling and unschooling was that homeschooling is repeating school at home. You have subjects, you have grades, you have school times, you have certain, assignments and certain curriculum that you follow. Unschooling is much more free, and the kid is in charge, which a lot of people are very scared of. Very, very scared of that. But it's a child-led learning. So the kid, they're in charge of what they're wanting to learn, when they're wanting to learn it, which sometimes looks like studying rock and roll history.
Yeah, it's a totally different paradigm. This idea of let the child have that much control. This is mine. This is totally revolutionary
for sleep and anarchy.
Right. Hopefully. So the difference, that it's a huge paradigm shift in your thinking, and it takes a lot of faith, and it takes a lot of realizing that you see such amazing things happen with these kids. And they're learning so much faster than you could ever teach them that you're like, oh, okay, this is really working.
Yeah, and how was it for you? Before the show, we were talking about how you kind of go through a little bit of unschooling or deschooling yourself as a parent.
You do, because you think, well, I did spelling tests, and I took all those tests, and I did all these things, and don't they need to do that? And what's my role as an unschooling mother? I understood my role as a homeschooling mother was to be the teacher and to come up with worksheets and make things and do things. But then what's my role as the unschooling mother? Well, I found it so much even bigger because I'm like the scaffolding. I'm the one holding everything up. You're and your husband, or you and your partners. You're scaffolding these children by taking them to the library and on field trips and getting them with other people and doing all of these other things and having all the right supplies around.
Well, that's the big concern for a lot of people is if they don't go to school, they're not going to learn how to interact with other kids. They're not going to get the social. There's another time for air quotes socialization.
Right.
Which actually, I really don't like that word, but that idea of being able to mix in with other people and learn communication skills and culture. So that's a big concern for people when they don't do this.
And to me, I had never really heard the word or used the word socialization prior.
Yeah.
It was just assumed that that's what they're getting in school, I guess, or what they don't talk about it. And in fact, I know as a talker, I'm a talker.
No.
That in school, I was often told, you are not here to socialize, young lady.
Oh.
You are here to study. You can talk to your friends after school, and it was like, oh, am I really here to socialize?
So that's the big point. There, this socialization in public school is almost like a myth that's what they're getting out of public school. When I think more and more of us are coming to see that it's actually obedience more than anything else.
Right.
That's what's being taught in public school.
And you can learn how to interact with people through your sports. You can have clubs, you can have scouts, karate. So many just getting to
hang out with the neighbors.
Learning, I would say just getting to know your neighbors. Our neighbors, we have a wide variety of people in our neighborhood in downtown Lee Summit, and just my boys getting to know our neighbors and getting to know their hobbies and their skills and helping them do chores or helping them, do different things. They learned so much from them and had friends of all different ages.
All ages. I like that. Yeah.
And then both of my boys have been very good at learning from little bitty children and all the way up to really old, like anybody. They both can see that you can learn something from anyone.
And would you say they're weird or they seem different than the, normal people?
I don't think weird is the word that I would use, but I mean, both of my boys are very creative. So people sometimes people think that maybe, but
deliciously
mostly I get huge compliments on how mature they are and how grounded they are and how helpful they are.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Jace, my youngest son, because he does a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I think,
and my oldest son is an artist and musician, and he's always making things and creating things. And people are like, "How does he have so much time?" Well, he wasn't stuck in school all the time.
I think that's one of the main things I learned in school. I went to public school, and I learned to be different, to be deemed as weird, or to give other people a chance to pick on me for anything was devastating. That was the most horrible thing to do. And so much energy and effort was spent trying to
And how exhausting is that? How exhausting is it to try to be like everyone else when we're all so different? Apparently, I'm glad that it didn't. And
I've spent the time since then trying to get out of it.
to get back to being normal?
Well, and I think that a lot of us go through that. I mean, you get out of school and then you try to find yourself.
Yes.
Figure out who you are. After all these years of trying to be just like everyone else, all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute, who am I? And what do I want to do? And what sets me apart from everyone else? And if there's a group of children learning and growing without that constraint, they just are who they are the whole time.
And if it's child-led education, if they are pursuing the knowledge that they want and enjoying learning for the sake of learning, then they have learned something that they can then carry through their entire lives. Whereas in public school, information is kind of crammed down your throat, and if there's no teacher to do the cramming, you're not learning anything. So you graduate from school, maybe you go through college and you continue learning through that. But eventually there comes a day when there's no one left that's going to be there and crack the whip over you and make you learn anymore.
Right.
And how many people come to that place and then they just stop reading.
They just
stop learning. They stop growing and taking in new concepts because they don't know how to do it on their own.
Exactly. And then, and then they just kind of stall out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes a period of time, and you either have to have an illness that causes you to have to learn some things, or you have some other issue in your life comes up, a job, you want to progress in your job, you want a promotion, or you want something like that causes you to want to learn again. Mm-hmm. When really we should all be just like naturally curious and wanting to learn all of the time.
So kids, get out of school. Do whatever you can. Ask your parents.
See the lawsuits coming
get
already.
Out of school as quickly, as soon as you can, as young as you can. And if you're thinking about college, don't.
The views expressed by Ned Kelly do not necessarily represent the views
of anyone else here or the show.
The amount of depth, I guess we could do a whole nother show on higher education, college, but the amount of
what a
depth.
racket that is.
Now, unless you absolutely have to, unless you're sure that you want to be a doctor, one of those professions where you need that degree,
right?
And you kind of have to go through the game, play the game to get that piece of paper. Otherwise, tune in, and drop out.
Yeah,
and become an expert in whatever you love and what you want to learn and what you want to do.
And there's no boundaries to that. If there's no label for what you want to be and what you want to do, invent one.
Exactly.
Make it. If no one's ever done it before, you can be the first.
Awesome.
It's true.
Well,
this is fun,
we're coming to a close here. Where can people learn about what you're doing? What do you have going on?
I have a spiritual education center in Lee Summit, Missouri, with my partner Debs and my husband Lauren and our son Jace, called the counciloflightcenter.com. Counciloflightcenter.com
is
our website, and we have all different kinds of events all of the time, from raw food potlucks to how to meet your guardian angel. I mean, it really goes from the gamut of different spiritual topics.
I wonder if my guardian angel is a vegan. Unschooled vegan.
No, let's hope.
Can we do
maybe there's a diet of light and energy when you're on that.
It's totally raw light.
It's totally raw light.
Can we do what have you learned today?
Let's do.
There's a segment of
okay.
to do what have you learned today.
Will you start us off then?
I get to start us off. I think the most important, there's so much I did learn today. I learned in reflexology, and we have to go back to the first, if you're tuning into the second part here, it's on part one. The part of your foot that represents the foot in reflexology is the foot.
The whole foot. Who knew?
But, and I've just decided that the right foot represents the left foot and vice versa.
That's
we
by no means official.
We need to call an expert on that.
Who wants to go next? What did you learn on the show today?
I learned that you two are extremely funny, entertaining, intelligent, and articulate men.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's
got to go on our promos. Yeah.
We're going to have her back, I think. and I learned about Learn, the homeschooling organization here in Kansas City, and I'm going to learn a lot more about them.
What's the acronym again?
LEARN. Let education always remain natural.
Wonderful.
I can get behind that motto.
Yeah, it's really great organization.
This has been the Sunday Brunch. Thank you very much.
Lovey, great show.
Thank you.
Van Benthusen.
Thank you so much.
Great guests.
And till next time, peace.